artists on your playlist?
Because I'm from Georgia, I have to say, y'all got married in Ringo, Georgia?
We got married in Ringo.
You're pretty good. You're trying to get into my secrets.
Atlanta News First presents Monica Pearson, One-on-One.
Good evening and welcome to One-on-One. My guests tonight include two people in the music business. One has a knack for launching music careers like that of Reba McIntire and the late Toby Keith. But few in Georgia know the name of Georgia native and resident Jerel Flynn. The other is a master drummer who's performed with singers CeeLo Green, Jennifer Holliday, and Christian Bush of Sugarland. That's just to name a few. When he's not on the road, Jerel JFly Flynn helps young people answer the question, how big is your dream? And helps them get there. But tonight we begin in Bremen, Georgia, with Jerel Flynn. He's better known in music circles, particularly in Nashville, for the careers he's launched and the gold and platinum records he's collected. This is a house music built on a hill, property owned by Jerel Flynn, who used to plow this land as a young boy. This is more than a house with an office. It is a repository. Wow.
This is my hideaway.
Look at all of this.
This is some of my memorabilia from the past, my gold records and platinum records. And
This is your Alabama wall.
that's my Alabama wall. I did 13 albums with Alabama. I was with them for a decade. They became Group of the Decade, and at that same time, I was hired by Mercury Records to run the Nashville Country Division. So this is up to that point.
Wow. You got platinums?
Yes, and double platinums, triple platinums, and quadruple platinums.
This room is
This
amazing.
represents about, at this stage, probably 80 million albums. And these are other artists that I worked with along the way. Of course, this is Alabama, a Grammy. Mel Tillis, I worked with Mel. Reba McIntire.
And there's Toby.
Toby. I did Toby's first 7 #1 records. And Toby sold in his career about 100 million records. And this is also on this wall is Shania Twain's first album. This particular album sold 3 million copies, right close to 3 million. And since that time, the albums that she and Mutt did together, she's at about 100 million records.
So, you took me back to my childhood. Roy Rogers.
Oh, yes. Roy, as you know, I had a recording studio in Nashville, and Roy and Dale came in. This was his last album that he ever recorded, and he and Dale and his son came in and spent about a week there. And this is Mel Tillis Jr., Mel's son. I did 5 albums with Mel. You asked me earlier,
Yes.
who did you not record? That was George. I love George Jones. Well, I never got to record that. And this is Cowboy Jack Clement and Chris Christopherson. And KT, I signed KT in the early 80s. And 80s Ladies was Song of the Year, Album of the Year, Single Record of the Year. She was Female Vocalist of the Year, and it won a Grammy. All those 5 things in 1 year.
You've got to be proud.
Well, the good Lord smiled on me, you know. It happened. I don't know why or how, but it did. And so, and I did 2 albums with KT, and she died 3 years ago this December. And but she was such an incredible songwriter and artist. And
there's Billy Ray.
Billy Ray. And this is the
Oh.
right out of the chute Billy Ray sold 9 million.
Wow.
That's for 9 million up there.
Coming up later, the story of how Harold Shedd discovered and signed Billy Ray Cyrus. But first, how Harold moved from radio and TV performer to producer and record executive. There were a lot of different jobs in between, and he tells me how what he learned in those positions helped him pick great talent. And later, how his hometown is preparing to honor him.
Monica Pearson One-on-One is sponsored by Montwick Injury Attorneys.
Harold Shedd did not go into the family business ministry, but did learn to play the mandolin, the guitar, sing, act, and play in bands. So why not the ministry?
Well, I'm not qualified, you know. No, yeah, my father was a minister all my life and all of his life. And then my brother, oldest brother, was a minister. And then I had, believe it or not, 5 uncles who were ministers. So I've heard some preaching in my life.
Do you at any time in your career, which has been so successful as a producer, but is there something in you that says, I could have been a great entertainer?
Well, Monica, I went to Nashville because I loved to sing and play. And I played a mandolin and a bluegrass band for a period of time. And I sang with my sisters in church growing up. My father was a minister, as you know. And then I wanted to be a singer, you know, but I don't sing. I sing okay, I can sing in tune, but there's nothing unique about how I sing. And real artists and stars, they don't sound like anybody else. They have their own thing. So from that standpoint, no, I didn't have that. I didn't have that. My gift was, God gave me a gift to know something when I heard it, and that's what I followed. And not to sing it, but to get someone else to sing it.
Well, I came up with the idea that even though you have all these ministers in your family, that your ministry became finding talent.
I guess that would be it. Yeah, I guess that would be it. I think that's why God gave me the ability to know the difference, you know, what is and what isn't. I signed artists that no one in the music business would sign. Alabama couldn't get a record deal. K.T. Oslin couldn't get a record deal.
Toby Keith couldn't get a record.
Keith couldn't get a record deal. Sammy Kershaw Shania Twain couldn't get a record deal. Kentucky Headhunters couldn't get a record deal. I think that's what God gave me, you know. I think to know the difference. Hey, son, try this, you know, kind of thing.
Well, with Alabama, they had 21 consecutive hits, number one hits. Yeah. And when you took them on, hardly anybody even paid any attention.
No, they didn't want to hear them either. In fact, Monica, I pitched their tape to some major companies in Nashville along the way. My home's in Alabama, for instance. Drinking was forbidden in my country, you know, and all that. And I had one record executive at a major label say, well, people up and down the Alabama line might play that, but people all over the world, and I never believed that, you know. And so you can't put everybody in the same category, you know, you can't. And you can't say, because people like that, they'll like this. But if it hits you and you like it and you're trying to deal with it, you got to say, well, if I like it and all these people that I have respect for like it, it's got to be pretty good, you know, so someone else needs to hear it.
So, do you have any regrets? Is there any star you didn't get to work with that you wish you had?
Yes.
Who's that?
George Jones.
Oh.
I think George Jones was the greatest country singer ever in my life. And I met him. I met George. I knew him well. Spent a little bit of time. But he always had a deal. And everybody wanted George, you know. But I never got to make a record with him. But I'm such a fan of his singing. No one sounds like George, you know? So yeah, that's a regret. I don't have many regrets, but I wish I had been able to make a record with George.
Now, I understand Reba McIntire's first gold album you were responsible for, but that you had that fight with her the whole time.
I did. We had creative disagreement.
Oh, I like the way you put that.
We did. But by the same token, she did what I wanted her to do.
While Reba was already signed to a record label, Billy Ray Cyrus was not. Harold Shedd went to see him perform in Asheville, Kentucky, and couldn't believe what he saw.
Women literally threw their garments on stage. And I had only seen that once in my life ever. And that was when Elvis played the Fox Theater in Atlanta in 1957. I had never seen that, Monica. I mean, panties, bras, whatever. They were just flying up on stage. And
then it happens with Billy Ray.
well, that was the next time I saw it ever in my life.
The timing was perfect. Harold just had taken over Mercury Records, his mission to make the label a country music success. Harold and company executives went back a second time to see Billy Ray.
I said, okay, I'm going to go back one more time. And I kind of disguised myself. I got me some glasses and a hat. He wouldn't have known me, you know, if he had seen me. I was totally disguised. And it was the same thing again, you know. And so I went back to Nashville and I told my friend Paul, who was the GM, I said, Paul, we may have the next Elvis, you know, kind of thing. So I told my assistant, her name was Joyce Triplett, I said, call Billy Ray and tell him to come in and meet me at 10 in the morning. I've never told anybody this story. Billy Ray came in that night and he drove in and slept in his car in the parking lot of the studio till we met the next morning. And he had written this incredible song. He sang it at the Vietnam Wall when they unveiled that in Washington, D.C. It was called All Gave Some, but Some Gave All. And Monica, there must have been 50 or 60,000 people cried, you know. It was so emotional and so good. I knew I got to do something. So we made a decision to sign him at that time.
But then everybody remembers him. No, we remember that song. Most people remember him for Achy Breaky Heart.
That's right. So we had to find a song for radio. Some Gave All was such a beautiful, it was his God Bless the USA, you know, kind of thing. But everything had not gotten to that point yet.
Achy Breaky Heart was written by Don Von Tress and wasn't produced by Shedd, but by two engineers he assigned to the song. Achy Breaky Heart became a huge hit. Up next, how Bremen, Georgia is paying tribute to Harold Shedd. And later, a musician gives back and asks, how big is your dream? Hutchinson was 13 years old when he met Harold Shedd.
I participated in a sing-off at Milltown Music Hall, and Mr. Shedd was a judge. And I remember, at that point in time, I was just a kid. I didn't know people produced music. I thought every time I heard music on the radio, somebody was in the studio playing. I had no clue how any of it worked, and it kind of changed my whole life. Once I got to talk to him and realize how accomplished he is, he was the first person to take me serious. Before then, I was just a kid singing, and people would go, "Oh, that's sweet," because you're a kid. But he was the first person to kind of pull me to the side and go, "No, I really think you got something." And so, yeah, it's not an understatement to say I don't know if I'd still be doing it had I not got that encouragement that early.
So how did you get from 13 to American Idol?
Yeah, pretty much, when Harold told me to take it serious, I took his advice. So I played in every bar, wine place, Mexican restaurant, any place they'd have me. If they had an outlet and would let me sing, I would do it. And played all around West Georgia, graduated high school, had no clue what to do next. Didn't have any connections or anything. So I just thought, well, I'll give this a try and maybe meet some like-minded people, and ended up going a little further than I intended. So I was very blessed.
That blessing includes now being a Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter and being the runner-up to the winner on season 16 of American Idol. He says he owes it all to Harold Shedd. That's why he wanted to perform at the unveiling of the plans for the Harold Shedd Music Gallery at the Hub in Bremen in June. The gallery will be a stone's throw from the Hub and will include interactive exhibits and many of the items Shedd has at his home. But some things won't be moving, like the replica of his Home of the Wheel at the Music Mill recording studio he built in Nashville. There's a lot to share since Shedd is in the Georgia Music Hall of Fame and has memorabilia from his various jobs over the years as a band musician, radio DJ, TV performer, music producer, radio engineer, radio owner, and he's worked in Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, and Louisiana, and of course, Nashville. Now he has more time for his crossword puzzles, his books, the podcast, Behind the Shedd, and more time for his art.
I make artistic things. I don't know if you saw the guy coming into the house with the trunk.
Yes, I did.
Well, that's one of my creations, and I'm working on this one. I'll build my body at some point, and.
So that's how you relax.
Yeah, and I like to do that. Not that I don't consider myself an artist, but I like to make things,
The land he once farmed as a kid is now dotted with art, horses, and old farm equipment. Harold and his wife, Faye, built this house when he turned 90. One of his best friends teased him about it and said,
"There's an optimist."
You are an optimist, aren't you?
It was something, we do what we think we need to do, and it's like music, yeah. I don't know how good that is or how bad it is, but I think I need to do it, so. And we have 2 sons and a grandson, and Faye and I divorced in 1977, and we remarried about a little over a year ago, I guess. How long, Faye? A year ago?
It'd be a year in September.
Yeah, sorry.
So you finally came to your senses.
Well, you could say that. I'm not going to admit to that, but I would like to say I did it for my family. I love my family. I love my kids, and I love my grandson.
Well, I like the fact that you are one of the biggest and most well-known people in Nashville. And people know you in Bremen, but in the state of Georgia, a lot of people don't know who you are and what you've done. Does that bother you at all?
I'm not very well known, actually, but I love music, and I love people, and especially I love God. I know He is our supreme guy. We couldn't do anything without that. Hey, I plowed a mule when I was 6 years old. I never would have been smart enough to get to Nashville, Tennessee and make records, I had to have help. And so that's what I believe. That's what I believe.
November 8th, Harold Shedd turns 94. The Harold Shedd Music Gallery is in its early stages of fundraising and hopes to have Phase 1 completed within a year. Up next, meet Jerel JFly Flynn and learn about his How Big Is Your Dream Foundation and the young people he's helping to realize their dreams in and out of the music industry. The late General Colin Powell lived the dreams of his parents who immigrated from Jamaica to the United States, where he was born. Powell became the first Black person to be the U.S. Secretary of State. He said, "A dream doesn't become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work." That is a statement Jerel JFly Flynn could agree with. His dream, growing up in Waycross, Georgia, the youngest of 8 children, was to become a world-class drummer. He succeeded and has backed people like Christian Bush of Sugar Land, Montel Jordan, Peebo Bryson, Bobby Brown, and Jennifer Holliday, and that's just to name a few. And while drumming was easy for him, there were some tough lessons along the way that he shares with young people who join his nonprofit, How Big Is Your Dream? I went one-on-one with JFly during a workshop for aspiring artists. Music is life to Jerel JFly Flynn, and he lives it to the fullest. He comes from a family of musicians, sacred and not secular. You grew up in a family where your mother is an evangelist,
Yes.
Your late father was a deacon in the church, and now one of your 7 brothers,
Yes.
one has passed, but one of your 7 brothers is actually the pastor at the church in Waycross.
Yes.
So how everybody in your family plays music and everybody's involved in the church?
Yes, and I'm the only sibling that has played what they call secular. All of my family plays gospel music, and I grew up in the church, but I'm the only one that has played R&B, hip hop. I've worked with country artists, of course, did all the stuff for downtown Atlanta. So I'm the one that traveled the globe, but I've always come back to my roots. My roots is what give me the feel on the drums, the church. Yes.
Explain it.
So it's a thing like when you're in the culture of music, it's in your body and you can't teach it, but you feel it. And when I'm on the drums, a lot of times the producer or the artist, they like, what is that? That's what we were looking for. But that's just the Spirit of God coming through my instrument.
Now, in your home growing up at the time, there are 8 children, 7 boys, and 1 girl.
Yes.
And you're the baby.
Yes.
So how did you pick the drums?
Imitate my brothers. So all of my siblings are 1 to 2 years apart, and the closest sibling to me is 9 years apart. So I was always trying to be accepted and fit in. And if they did something, I would try to do it, but I didn't know it was getting on their nerves. So I saw one of my brothers, actually my oldest brother, Greg, was a drummer. And I grabbed the sticks and I would just hit on things around the house. Now, this is the funny thing. I never had a drum set, and I didn't practice drum set until I moved to Atlanta. And it came so natural, like the rhythms, I would hear it and I could just do it in the air drumming before it became a game. I was air drumming and the mechanics of drumming just was in my body. And the first time I sat on drums at church, which was out the church, I was able to make the rhythm. Yes.
So how has your faith been incorporated into your music?
It's been incorporated because it gives me a foundation and gives me morals. I work with some of the biggest artists. I work across many genres. But when it comes to the things of the industry that may try to deter me or pull me away from my foundation, it's like a chain that links me to, okay, this is Waycross. This is the industry. You got to stay Waycross. And I'm very appreciative of it because the respect that I gain from artists, even if they don't say it, they come behind the scenes and say, man, I respect you for always being upstanding and upright. So a lot of times when they do the prayers behind scenes, they'll ask me to pray. And I'm like, hold on, I'm not the official chaplain here. But, it's respectful. And a lot of times when, they have after parties, I'll go back to the room because I'm out there to make a difference. And I like to tell the students, you don't have to give your soul to be accepted. You just have to be very good at what you do. And people respect that. Yeah.
Well, one of the things when I was looking at your social media that I learned that I didn't know about you is that when you first got in the business, you didn't understand or know the business side. But now you tell your students you better.
I didn't. And it took me going to New York and working with, at the time, Bobby Brown. We was doing the Tonight Show. And I was like, okay, we did the show. Where my check? And they're like, no, you're not a part of the union. You have to be a part. And I was like, you mean to tell me I played and I had a microphone and I can't get my money? And that is when it opened up for me, the business of music, and a lot of things that I didn't know coming out of Georgia that I had to educate myself on, especially when I went into other markets. And I like to tell our students, once we leave Georgia, we need to understand, the operating system of other states so we can make sure that we get properly taken care of when we do the work.
So tell me some examples of some things you've shared with the students, because I know some of them really want to be like you. They want to be professional musicians and singers.
Yes, I often tell them, never judge their fellow peers by if they're not learning as fast as they're learning, because, I was a late bloomer as well. And we really support our students with a confidence building. And it takes the talent, but it also takes education. And I went back to school and got my degree.
From Berkeley?
Yes, and got a 3.9 GPA. But I went back to make sure that I'm an example on all sectors of what it takes to be an accomplished musician. So I love education because that helps me teach them. That helps them understand that, you need education and you need the talent to make it sustainable. And once you combine those, you can teach somebody else.
Jorell went back to school because he found himself in an embarrassing situation.
I initially learned by ear. Music theory became important for me because I was exposed for not knowing how to read music when I was working for a commercial. And I've been flown to this particular area because I had a name at this point, but it was all reading, and it was with an orchestra for a TV jingle. And I was exposed for what I didn't know. And it was very embarrassing because I was the only artist from Atlanta. And when I was exposed for not knowing how to read, I said, okay, either you're gonna take this serious and stop skating on your talent, or you're gonna go on another career path. I had no option B. It was nothing else but music and entertainment. So I started to embrace music education a lot more, and that's why I advocate for education, because it helps you for the shows I have to do, for the amount of work I have to do. I have to be able to read it, and especially playing with the orchestra, because everything is exact the same way every time.
How did you get by that many years and not know to read?
By the skin of my chinny chin chin. It was, I could hear it. And once I heard it, I didn't have a drum set till I moved to Atlanta after graduating high school. And it was a talent that I had. And most of the time when I'm in settings, they will play an audio bite. And because of my feel, I could make it my own, and a lot of the artists would like what I would bring to their music. So a lot of times they wouldn't ask me about reading charts, and a lot of artists, when they wouldn't see me reading, it's like, oh, he done took time to learn my music and embrace my music. I'm like, yeah, and I'm just skating because I can't read. But when I was really exposed for what I didn't know or couldn't do, it made me face, my challenges, my fears. Nobody in my family knows how to read music. All of them are ear trained and talented. So I'm the only, sibling that reads music. Yeah.
His musical ability and his education opened more doors for him. Jorell is the former president of the Recording Academy Atlanta chapter of the Grammy Awards. He's a member of the Georgia Tech School of Music Advisory Board. He was the music director for the Centennial Olympic Park 4th of July celebration for 5 consecutive years. And for 8 years, he put on a free music festival in his hometown of Waycross. And the first one set his mom's mind at ease.
Yes, I took my music festival back to my hometown. The first time that my parents ever went to a concert outside of gospel was the music festival I took to Waycross. And at this time, I was a little bit more rough. I was playing my shirt off. I had braids. And they was like, oh my God, Evangelist Flynn is out here at a jazz concert. And that first year, I had Jennifer Holliday to come because I was working with her at the time. But she was able to see that music hadn't taken me away from my foundation. And it was a free festival for Waycross, Georgia, population probably 20,000. But a lot of people came and a lot of people supported, and a lot of people started believing this guy that grew up in the ghetto, in the hood, has brought this stellar artist back, Tony Award winning artist back, and to give back to our community. And she started to see it in a different way.
When One-on-One continues, JFly tells me what caused him to start the nonprofit, How Big Is Your Dream? And you'll meet students who'll talk about what they've learned in the program and what they plan to do with it. Then later, 2 popular holiday traditions in Atlanta are resurrected for a good cause. JFly isn't traveling as much to spend more time with his wife, Christy, and their 3 daughters and son. Jerel, Caitlin, and Christian are involved in the arts as singers and dancers, but also as athletes in track and volleyball. Little Jay is a different story.
My son, he started imitating me, and now he's playing drums. He's actually playing.
He's 4!
Yes, he's 4, but he's like the industry kid when it comes to How Big Is Your Dream. And he plays a lot, and I'm just amazed at how much rhythm he has. He's twirling the sticks, and I was like, oh my God, you twirl better than me. He's twirling the sticks, got the stick between his fingers, and he's like, Daddy, check this out. So I bought him some glow sticks, and now he's just all through the house. Dad, I was like, son, okay.
Do you think one of your children will follow you into the business?
The one I see following me is my son. Yes. Those girls definitely pull at my heart, and I know I'm gonna have to give them away to, the loves of their life when they 90. But I see him because he embraces it. He loves being up here, and he loves, being able to see how the older kids do it, but he also imitates a lot of the music, and it's in his body, it's in his soul.
The idea for How Big Is Your Dream came to JFly while he was touring. It launched in 2011, and it exposes students to music theory, voice, dance, drama, but also lyric writing, music technology, set design, art classes, and much more. This, could be a national model.
Yes, and it's interesting because I've had other people ask me about taking it to other areas. Like you mentioned, we do some in the top of the year with our soundtrack in American music. We also do Spring Break Academy, Summer Academy, and we do things in the winter season. So I want to have How Big Is Your Dream functioning year-round for a lot of parents that's really trying to figure out how to help their child get into the industry. They see it, but a lot of parents have never been in the industry. Honestly, a lot of parents don't respect the industry for a career path. It's not seen as a career path. It's seen as something that you kind of fall into. But it's so many career paths that's under the umbrella of entertainment that a lot of people don't recognize or realize. And I like to show them that other than being on the stage, it's so much that they can do to be involved behind the scenes. I mean, we have set design, a part of our academy. We have staging, we have costume design. We have a whole visual arts department that are designing like props, and they're repurposing clothes. We have people that's transcribing music. We have horns, strings, singers, choreography, and that's just, one sector. But when you get into stage management, and we have a few bossy students, so we like to have them be more of our management side. But it's so many, even, being able to speak and be journalism, it's so many other career paths. And I really want to help parents in deciding and seeing this as a respectable career path and having a game plan and structure to see that, okay, this is a viable career path, because entertainment is a revenue stream for a lot of states. And a lot of economic development is done through music and through tours and through entertainment. And entertainment sets the path for so much. Like, you could not do a school graduation without music. You could not have a wedding without music. You couldn't get through Atlanta traffic without music. So with that being said, a way that parents could say this is not only teaching our students or our kids ethics and being supportive in what they need to know as it relates to morals, but showing them by performers that are really still doing music at a high level and teaching them, okay, this is his theory, this is your talent. this is how it's applied. And some of the students be like, this is more work than I realized. This is not just playing the PlayStation. This is a lot of work. And they go into other career paths, but some students like, yes, this is what I want. So, okay, I need to go to this tech or go to this institution or take these type of lessons, and it helps to really direct their path.
So have you had a student yet who's gone on to record and been successful?
Yes, actually, Flau'jae, who is the big basketball star, she was in How Big Is Your Dream? And we've had so many emerging artists that have gone on to work in radio and television. And a lot of times, I don't know what they're doing till they come back. And it was like, you know, the first time we visited a radio station or television set, it was with How Big Is Your Dream? And it is just so rewarding to see. I saw them in seed form, and now they're trees that's feeding the nation, but they always can remember the treatment and the respect they got when they was in seed form through How Big Is Your Dream? Yes, and it's very, very, very rewarding.
Coming up next, hear from current participants in How Big Is Your Dream, and then meet someone you should know, Angie Ulibarri, who has resurrected 2 Atlanta holiday traditions for a good cause. These are some of the 9,000 students JFly believes he's worked with across Metro Atlanta since the start of How Big Is Your Dream? How big is your dream?
My dream's colossal.
What are you going to do with what you've learned here?
So when I grow up, I plan on being a touring artist. I'm a singer and an actor, so my biggest dream is touring in arenas and large stages, but as I get older, I definitely want to be on TV more and maybe produce for certain people as well.
What has this program taught you?
It's given me connections towards a lot of other young artists. So I know once we get famous together as a group, we can all work together. It's taught me maturity. It's taught me how to be more stage-like. My stage presence before was very, I wouldn't say timid, but more I kept to myself. But now I'm a very talkative person and I definitely express myself more.
And how big is your dream?
Gigantic.
Why do you say it's gigantic?
Because I want to do many great things in the world, if it's like not with the arts, but like other things as well.
How has this program helped you when you said other things as well?
It's helped me like make friends and like with my social skills. And it's like taught me new talents that I didn't know I had.
Like what?
So when I first came, we had to audition for many things. And when I did my acting audition, I ended up making the main cast. And I didn't know that I could honestly act. It's helped me. So like I'm gonna do like many things. Like I wanna act as well on the side because I also wanna be a mechanical engineer in the future as well.
So this has taught you discipline?
Yeah.
And what else?
It's taught me creativity, how to think outside of the box, and problem solving skills as well.
What has this program taught you about the music and the music industry that you think you'll use later on, whether or not you go into it professionally?
What I think it's taught me is a lot of just the professionalism that goes into it and the parts that I feel like a lot of people don't see that go into it. It's so much, everybody just gets to see the final production of everything and not everything that goes on behind the scenes. So it's taught me all of that and like how to do all of that if I need to at any point. Yeah.
Shemuel, how big is your dream?
Ginormous. It's really inspired me a lot just to be here and to just connect with people that also have dreams like me and really teaching me to connect more with people because I'm really introverted. Yes, I'm really introverted and this really took me out of my shell and really taught me how to connect with people.
Why drums?
Why drums? I've been playing drums since I was 8 months. So yes, I've been playing drums since I was 8 months. So I just kind of just stay playing drums.
Do you want that as your profession or do you want to be something else?
I want the drums is my profession.
Sounds a lot like the founder of How Big Is Your Dream. I asked JFly how he feels about his success in his career and with his foundation.
It's surreal. It's like, almost like, is this really happening? And that's like, how big is your dream? It's like as big as you can dream, but as much work as you're willing to put into it. So for me, I'm always pinching myself like, man, you grew up in Waycross. There was no music scene. And you was exposed to so much by moving to a new territory and really challenging yourself. Your weaknesses, you made them strengths because you kept growing. You kept growing. And that's what I tell the students, don't be afraid to grow. It's things that gonna come that make you feel like you're not supposed to be there, but you got to know it in here where you're supposed to be, and you start growing from that spot.
Can you believe that some stores already have Christmas decorations up, and we haven't even observed Halloween or Thanksgiving yet? The holidays are upon us, and one woman has resurrected 2 Metro Atlanta holiday favorites to raise money to fight human trafficking. Angie Ulibarri is someone you need to know. These are the sights and sounds of the Festival of Trees. For 5 years, Angie Ulibarri and a host of volunteers have put together this festival, which for 30 years was a fundraiser for Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. That ended years ago, in part because of the expense. Angie decided to revive it.
It happened when my youngest child turned 18 and realized she didn't really want to hang out with her mom anymore. And I found myself facing the empty nest with nothing to do, and I panicked a little bit, and I had a strong interest in doing things within the community. Also love Christmas, and realized there was no Festival of Trees in Atlanta, and I thought that was the strangest thing. And so I kept saying, why is there no Festival of Trees? And someone said to me, you should just start one. And I said, well, then, okay, I will. And my husband said, that sounds like a great thing for you to do. And we were all just crazy people who had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. But my parents always said, when you go somewhere and you do something, you always leave it better than you found it. And so I really wanted to do something that would leave a legacy behind that make Atlanta a better place. It's already such a cool city and we love it so much, and we wanted to put our roots down here. And we said, okay, let's do this and make it really spectacular.
How did you handle, and I know it was in the back of your mind, the fear of failure?
I think fear is an interesting word, and it's real. And sometimes it will just lay on you really heavy, and you just smile and push through. But I will admit there's times I laid in bed with my eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling, thinking, what in the world have I done? Because I'm in too far, I can only go forward. And so you just have to push down that fear and just go. And there's been some very fearful moments. Moving from downtown Atlanta to Gwinnett County, probably one of the scariest things I've ever done. Best thing I ever done. So I will say, anytime the fear's at its worst, you're just about to do something really important. You just got to push through.
And that same thought came into play when Angie dreamed of having Macy's retired pink pig, Priscilla, as part of the festival. Her husband relentlessly contacted Macy's, and eventually an agreement was reached. Now you can ride through the festival on Penelope, also known as Penny, Priscilla's granddaughter, and then there's Porter. There's a lot to do at the festival, and you can bid on the trees and wreaths, most with a theme, that are donated by companies and nonprofits. Festival proceeds go to 2 groups fighting human trafficking, Street Grace and Atlanta Redemption, Inc., which removes or covers up branding marks for people who were trafficked.
I think cover-ups are more common because they take something that's ugly to them and cover it with something beautiful that symbolizes their recovery and the hope for the future. It's really beautiful, really beautiful.
As for the organization Street Grace,
I love what they're doing, and they are on the cutting edge of technology, creating a very unsafe place for traffickers to survive on the internet. And they need to be applauded for the work they're doing. It's really incredible.
Angie loves the Festival of Trees because of all the people involved, from volunteers to visitors.
So I have a really big heart for people. I love people, and I love connecting people, and I love to see people have magical experiences that make them smile. So I just came wired that way. And then the coolest part is I married someone who's just like me. And so we've had a lifetime together of making people smile and watch magic happen.
Angie's husband is a healthcare executive who during the festival doubles as Waffles McSnowflake, handing out goodies to visitors. The Festival of Trees opens November 22nd at Gas South District Convention Center. I am the opening night MC, so come join us. For more information on the festival, go to gafestivaloftrees.org. Thanks for joining us this evening, and I hope you'll join me every Sunday at 8 on Atlanta News First. Make sure you subscribe to Atlanta News First on YouTube so you don't miss an episode. Good night.